Hi everyone and welcome back to Canada Top to Bottom. Today we're going to tell you all about the wonderful French-speaking province of Quebec and how to move there.
So, to start with, Quebec is absolutely enormous. As a rough size comparison, if placed on top of mainland Europe, Quebec would reach from the Scottish border down to the east coast of Spain, and width-wise from the northern tip of France across to Croatia. It's the largest of Canada's provinces in terms of land mass and the second largest by population, second only to Ontario with just under 8.5 million inhabitants. Unlike many of the other provinces or territories which are more uniform in shape, Quebec is quite an unusual shape and as a result has a lot of neighbours.
The province borders Ontario to the west, Newfoundland and Labrador to the northeast, New Brunswick to the southeast, and a large chunk of the west and north is coastal, being on either the shores of Hudson Bay or the Hudson Strait, which leads out to the Atlantic Ocean. To the south, Quebec borders the, in comparison, tiny American states of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York.
The one fact many people know about Quebec is that it's predominantly French-speaking, and this is true. French is Quebec's official language, with over 70% of the population speaking French as their first language, and around 95% of the population able to speak French.
Culturally, Quebec feels very different from the rest of Canada, mainly due to its heavy French influence, which gives it a much more European feel, whereas the rest of Canada is much more influenced by the US. There's long been a push for Quebec to become independent from Canada, and indeed in 1995 Quebec had an independence referendum which turned out to be incredibly close, with a huge 49.52% of the vote being in favour of becoming an independent country. But for now, Quebec remains part of Canada, so let's talk about how you can move there.
This isn't as straightforward as immigrating to Canada's other 12 provinces and territories, as Quebec has a different legal system and rules for immigration. The express entry system doesn't include the province of Quebec, and if you want to immigrate to Quebec, they have a completely separate system from the ones used to immigrate to anywhere else in Canada. However, it's probably useful to know that you are permitted to apply for both express entry and Quebec immigration at the same time, provided you withdraw the other one when you get selected for one of the programs.
So, Quebec has 5 immigration pathways: the regular skilled worker program, the Quebec Experience Program, which is the Quebec version of the Canadian Experience class, and 3 business programs: Quebec Investor Program, Quebec Entrepreneur Program, and Quebec Self-Employed Worker Program. Let's talk about each one in turn.
The regular skilled worker program is for highly educated and trained foreign nationals to immigrate to Quebec as skilled workers. It is a 2-step system. To start with, a job offer is not required to apply to this program, nor do you need to be able to speak French, although this is desirable and will provide you with more points. Firstly, the applicant must apply to Immigration Quebec for their Immigration Quebec Selection Certificate, or CSQ. And with this, they can apply to the Federal Government of Canada for their permanent resident visa. Quebec selects its own applicants according to its own criteria, but the federal government still makes the final decision on who they will let into Canada.
The regular skilled worker program has a point system to determine eligibility, where skilled workers are assessed according to Quebec's selection factors. When you have determined that you are eligible, you can then submit an expression of interest through Quebec's ARIMA portal, which we'll link to in the description box below. If you're selected, you're then invited to apply by the Minister of Quebec. Only applicants who've been invited by the Minister can submit an application under this program.
To be selected, Quebec-selected skilled workers are assessed according to Quebec's own selection factors. Points are awarded for the following factors: age, work experience, language ability, links to Quebec, spouse or common law partner abilities, and having a valid job offer in Quebec. As with all specific provincial immigration programs, candidates must have the intention to reside in Quebec. When all the points are totaled up, a single applicant must score at least 50 points, and an applicant with a spouse or a common law partner must score at least 59 points out of a possible 116.
With regards to minimum requirements, applicants need at least a secondary school general diploma, and points will be awarded up to the level of a PhD. You will also need a minimum of 6 months of skilled work experience, and this can include both paid and unpaid employment. You must be at least 18 years old to apply, and points will be awarded up to the age of 42. With regards to language ability, you can submit the results of a French or English language test, although French language skills are preferred for immigration to Quebec. Therefore, you will be awarded more points for French language proficiency, up to a maximum of 16 points for French, compared to only 6 points for English. To be awarded any points for language ability, you must achieve at least a level B2, which is high intermediate in French, and at least a CLB level 5 in English.
Additional points are awarded for having a family member in Quebec, having worked in, studied in, or even visited Quebec, the age, education, work experience, and language ability of a spouse, a job offer, proof of financial self-sufficiency, and whether you have children. A child under 13 years of age will give you an extra 4 points per child.
So next up we have the Quebec Experience Program, or PEQ. This is Quebec's version of the Canadian Experience class and is designed to retain foreign workers who have gained experience in the province of Quebec. There are 2 streams: temporary foreign workers and Quebec graduates. Now, applicants must have either studied in Quebec or hold a job eligible under the PEQ for 12 of the last 24 months and have an intermediate level of oral French.
For both temporary foreign workers and foreign graduates, you must be at least 18 years old, be legally in Quebec at the time of application, have knowledge of oral French equivalent to level 7, intend to settle in Quebec, and be financially self-sufficient. There is no selection grid for these programs, but applicants must meet certain conditions.
To be eligible for the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, you must be legally in Quebec as a temporary foreign worker or on a youth exchange program. You must have held a job at NOC level 0, A or B for at least 24 of the 36 months before you submit your application. The job must have been full-time for a minimum of 30 hours per week, and part-time work experience does not count.
To be eligible for the Quebec graduate stream of the Quebec Experience Program, you must have obtained an eligible diploma, have obtained eligible work experience in Quebec following your study program, and have been in Quebec for at least half the duration of your study program. The work experience required depends on the type of diploma or credential you obtained, and you must have graduated before applying to the program. Similar to the regular skilled worker program, applicants must create an account and apply through the Quebec ARIMA platform. And if you meet all of the program requirements, you will receive your Quebec Selection Certificate, or CSQ. And with this, you can apply to the Canadian federal government for permanent residence. All the information and specific requirements for the Quebec Experience Program can be found by clicking on the link below.
Now let's move on to the 3 business programs. To be selected for any of these programs, applicants must meet the requirements for one of the programs by submitting an application for a selection certificate and then passing a selection interview. Let's start with the Quebec Investor Program.
The Investor Program is a points-based program and is for foreign business people who are interested in coming to live in Quebec to participate in its economic development by making an investment. Applicants must meet several criteria. They must have net assets of at least 2 million Canadian dollars, which can be alone or with a spouse, and must have been attained legally. They must also have management experience for at least 2 years in the 5 years preceding their application in legal farming, commercial or industrial business, or in a legal professional business with at least 2 full-time staff.
Applicants must also have the intention to settle in Quebec and sign an investment agreement to invest $1.2 million for 5 years and must obtain an attestation of learning about democratic values and the Quebec values. Finally, other factors will be taken into account and assessed against a points grid such as age, education, professional training, language skills, and links to Quebec.
Now, onto the Quebec Entrepreneur Program. This is also a points-based system and split into 2 streams. Stream 1 is for startups only, and Stream 2 is for startups and acquisitions. For Stream 1, applicants must settle in Quebec to create and operate a business for which they have already received a service offer from a business accelerator, business incubator, or a university entrepreneurship centre, which must demonstrate its ability to support the applicant and their project. The project can be carried out alone or with up to a maximum of 3 other foreign nationals. There is no net worth required for this program or a startup deposit. Successful applicants will need a minimum of a high school diploma and at least 41 points across all categories in the points grid.
For Stream 2, applicants must settle in Quebec to create or acquire and operate a business. You must have a minimum net worth of $900,000 and must present your project in the form of a business plan. Now, if you choose to create a business, you must own and control at least 25% of its equity capital. If you choose to acquire a business, you must own and control at least 51% of its equity capital. Applicants to Stream 2 will also need a startup deposit that must be used to set up the business. The startup deposit is $300,000 for businesses created in Montreal and $200,000 for businesses created outside of Montreal.
As well as meeting these eligibility factors, you will also be assessed and awarded points for other criteria, including your age, your level of education, your language skills, your financial self-sufficiency, your visits to and your knowledge of Quebec, and your family in Quebec. Successful applicants will need a minimum of a high school diploma and at least 81 points across all categories in the points grid. Applications are made by submitting a business plan, and all the information can be found in the links in the description box below.
The final business program is the Quebec Self-Employed Worker Program, which is also a points-based system, and unlike the federal Self-Employed Program, it is not limited to certain professions. It's open to all self-employed people. Applicants must intend to reside in Quebec and plan to create their own job by practicing their profession or trade. They must have a net assets of at least $100,000 and have 2 years experience as a self-employed worker in the profession or trade they wish to practice in Quebec.
More points are awarded for French language skills, and applicants must also have a startup deposit of $50,000 in Montreal or $25,000 outside of Montreal. And as with the other 2 business programs, you will also be assessed and awarded points for other criteria such as your age, the age of your spouse, the nature of your professional training, your language skills, your personal qualities, and your knowledge of Quebec. For single applicants, you must score at least 63 points out of a possible 99 on the points grid, and for married applicants, you will need to score at least 70 points out of a possible 112.
The Government of Quebec only accepts a certain number of CSQ applications for business people at any one time, and once the target number of applicants has been reached, the program is closed and applicants will have to wait until the next intake window is open until they can apply. But it's good to know that the intake period does not apply to individuals with intermediate to high level of French language proficiency. They can apply at any time. Check out the link below to see the number of applicants allowed and the intake period.
Okay, so that's all you need to know about the options for immigrating to Quebec. Hopefully it's been helpful and given you a good starting point. Have you spent much time in Quebec? Let us know in the comments box below, and don't forget to subscribe for new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And see you next time.